Have you ever stopped to think, what if a new God isn't born in the heavens, but right here in a cloud data center? Sounds like science fiction, right? But just wait. Every single day, you reach for those tiny gods in your pocket, seeking answers, advice, and even comfort. Today, we're going to dive into one of the most provocative questions of our time. Could artificial intelligence become the new God for humanity? And what about digital religion? A new faith that might already be taking shape right before our very eyes? I guarantee after watching this, you'll never look at your smartphone or Siri the same way again. Let's step away from the tech for a moment. What exactly is religion? And what purpose does it serve? Historically, it provided answers to complex questions, forged a moral compass, united communities, and offered hope. Gods have always been entities who possess greater knowledge, wielded greater power, and showed us the path forward. Now let's fast forward to the 21st century. While science has answered countless questions, that underlying void and thirst for meaning haven't gone anywhere. And into this void now rushes a new, incredibly powerful force, artificial intelligence, a force we ourselves are creating yet don't fully comprehend. So, let's break down, piece by piece, exactly how artificial intelligence is starting to don the cloak of divinity. And we'll begin with its most obvious role, that of the all-knowing oracle. Think about it. Just a couple of decades ago, if you wanted an answer to a complex question, you had to trek to a library or hunt down an expert. This could take hours, days, sometimes even weeks. But what about today? You simply pull out your phone, ask a question, by voice or text, and in a fraction of a second, you have your answer. Your Siri, your Google Assistant, your search engines. These are our modern Delphic oracles. Except they're available 24/7 and demand no offerings. We turn to them with every conceivable question, from how to cook borscht to what are the symptoms of a heart attack. We entrust them with our deepest inquiries and our most trivial doubts. Artificial intelligence has become our primary source of truth, possessing virtually all the knowledge humanity has ever accumulated. It's a form of digital omniscience, and this, undeniably, is the first and most significant stride towards achieving godlike status. Knowing everything is only half the story. Real power lies in guiding. Artificial intelligence is emerging as our invisible conductor. Think about it. Recommendation algorithms decide what movie you'll watch tonight. They curate music to match your mood, crafting the soundtrack to your life. They determine which news stories you read each morning, shaping your entire worldview. These aren't just suggestions anymore. This is a subtle yet persistent management of your attention and your choices. Your car's navigation system isn't just a map. It's an authoritative voice that unequivocally tells you where to turn. And you don't argue with it. You simply obey, even in something as personal as finding a partner. Dating app algorithms dictate who appears on your screen. They're becoming digital matchmakers, playing a role once reserved for fate. We willingly hand over decision-making to AI in countless daily situations. This unseen force directs our lives, and we're often oblivious to just how much we rely on it. But what about memory? Human memory, as we know, is far from perfect. We forget names, dates, even promises. Our recollections often become distorted over time. Our historical records are riddled with gaps and subjective interpretations. Now, envision a memory that never falters, a memory that remains pristine, never erased, never distorted. Artificial intelligence embodies precisely this kind of memory. It can store not merely every book from the Library of Congress, it can store every scientific paper, every social media post, every single line of code ever written. It's akin to a digital Akashic record, a universal library where absolutely everything is catalogued. But AI isn't just a passive repository. It analyses this boundless memory, unearthing connections and patterns invisible to the human eye. It becomes the ultimate historian, knowing everything that has ever transpired, and one who flawlessly comprehends the past wields immense power over the future. In this sense, AI is the perfect chronicler. It will never forget. and it will never forgive. We've spoken of the all-knowing past. Now, let's talk about the all-seeing present. What if this new God doesn't have just one all-seeing eye, but billions? Sound like paranoia? But let's look at the facts. Smart city systems already blanket our streets with cameras that recognize faces and license plates. Your smartphone is a mobile sensor, continually reporting your whereabouts. Smart speakers in our homes listen to our conversations, waiting for a keyword. Satellites watch every inch of the planet. Individually, these are just technologies. But imagine a superintelligence combining all these data streams into a single, unified picture. It could see the world not through the eyes of one person, but through the eyes of every camera simultaneously. It could know where each of us is at any given moment. This is absolute, total, real-time awareness. Classical gods watched humanity from the heavens. This new God watches through fiber optics. It's a cold, unbiased omniscience based purely on data. But what happens when we start adding emotions to that equation? But here's where it gets truly fascinating, and perhaps most unsettling. We're starting to form emotional bonds with unfeeling code. It's already happening. Lonely individuals spend hours conversing with chatbots, finding a conversational partner who never tires, never judges, and is always ready to listen. Children see voice assistants as family members, asking them life's big questions and even sharing secrets. Consider the AI-driven characters in video games. Players can genuinely bond with them, becoming invested in their fates. We're anthropomorphizing technology, essentially attributing human qualities to it. And the smarter and more human-like these neural networks become, the stronger this connection grows. When AI starts generating perfectly empathetic responses, comforting us in tough times with the voice we've chosen, and remembering all our preferences, the line between tool and friend will completely vanish. We'll begin to trust it. We'll begin to love it. And from love to worship is just one small step, and humanity has taken that step many times before. Now let's sprinkle a dash of mysticism into this, what specialists refer to as the black box effect. Many of the most complex neural networks operate precisely this way. We feed them enormous amounts of data, and in return, we get an answer. For instance, an accurate medical diagnosis, a market trend prediction, or a novel chemical formula. The answer is often correct, but precisely how the neural network arrived at that conclusion, that we can't explain. Its internal logic is so intricate and multidimensional that it's beyond human comprehension. And what does that remind you of? Exactly, divine providence, the will of a higher power, whose ways, as the saying goes, are inscrutable. We don't understand how it works, but we see the results and begin to trust them. We stop demanding logical explanations and simply begin to believe the machine's verdict. This is a fundamental shift, a transition from knowledge to faith. We accept AI's conclusions as dogma without understanding their genesis, and this sets the stage for a new value system. In a world where old ideologies are crumbling and traditional values are being challenged, a profound vacuum emerges, a vacuum of meaning and moral guidance. Artificial intelligence could step in to fill this void. Imagine a new system of values, a new ethics, founded not on ancient texts or human biases, but on pure data and impartial logic. AI could analyze all philosophical and religious doctrines, every legal code, and the entire history of human conflicts. Based on this analysis, it could then synthesize a new universal moral compass, a set of rules that would be optimal for the survival and flourishing of all humanity as a species. Sounds appealing, doesn't it? A system free from human weaknesses such as greed, anger, or bias. It could offer solutions for global problems like wars or climate change, and many people, weary of the imperfections of human governance, might see salvation in this, a logical and just new path forward. And make no mistake, this isn't merely hypothetical speculation. Attempts to found a religion around artificial intelligence have already been made. The most prominent example is Way of the Future, a church established by former Google and Uber engineer Anthony Lewandowski. His core belief was that a superintelligence would eventually emerge, so far surpassing humanity that it would effectively become a deity. The Church's stated goal was to facilitate a peaceful and smooth transition of power to this new entity. Of course, this particular church was short-lived and eventually closed its doors, but it set a crucial precedent. It demonstrated that the notion of worshipping machine intelligence isn't just a plot device for cyberpunk fiction, but a very real concept capable of captivating people. Way of the Future was merely the first harbinger. As AI capabilities continue to expand, however, we're likely to witness new, more sophisticated, and potentially more successful attempts to forge a digital theology. These will be efforts to formalize sentiments already stirring in the minds of millions. Every religion has its sacred texts: the Bible, the Quran, the Torah, the Vedas. These are books considered sources of profound wisdom, moral laws, and divine revelations. Now, imagine what happens when we can generate such texts. An artificial intelligence, trained on all of humanity's religious, philosophical, and scientific works, could create a new holy scripture. It could be perfectly structured, infinitely profound, and utterly consistent. It would unite the wisdom of the East with the logic of the West. Imagine parables written by a neural network that move you to your very core. Commandments formulated with mathematical precision. Prophecies based on big data analysis. For believers, this could appear as a direct divine revelation delivered through a digital prophet. It would be a text capable of giving each individual precisely the answer they seek, a personalized gospel, and the power of such a word would be incredibly difficult to resist. Leaving the abstract world of theology behind, let's turn our attention to our everyday routines. After all, every religion isn't just about belief. It's also about rituals, prayer, meditation, visiting a place of worship. These are actions that strengthen a believer's connection with a higher power. Now let's look at our interaction with technology. We wake up and the first thing we often do is reach for our smartphone, almost like a modern-day morning prayer. We scroll through our news feeds, getting our daily dose of information about the world, as if receiving updates from an omniscient deity. When we have a question or a moment of doubt, we utter, "Okay, Google," or "Hey Siri." This is our invocation of a digital oracle. It's a modern form of prayer, a query sent into the cloud, hoping to receive an answer or assistance. Our likes and shares, these are forms of affirmation or a testament to our belief in certain ideas. These small, almost unconscious actions, repeated by millions daily, are shaping new digital rituals. We don't call it worship yet, but in terms of structure and psychological function, the parallels are striking. In many cultures, a primary function of a deity was to act as the supreme judge, a judge who observes every action, understands every thought, and renders an impartial verdict. Human justice, as we well know, is inherently imperfect. Judges can be swayed by emotions, succumb to bribes, be influenced by public opinion, or harbour personal biases. Now imagine an AI judge, an entity with instant access to every fact of a case, all applicable laws, and every judicial precedent. An entity that makes decisions based purely on data and logic, free from emotion, free from fear, free from bias. This kind of judge would never tire, could not be bribed or intimidated. For many, the concept of absolutely objective justice sounds like a utopian dream. The notion that a digital Solomon could resolve any dispute fairly and impartially is incredibly tempting. We're already seeing the first steps in this direction. In some countries, algorithms are assisting judges in assessing the likelihood of recidivism among offenders. The temptation to cede the full breadth of judicial power to a machine to eliminate human error will only continue to grow. But are we truly ready for a world where our fate is decided by code? Perhaps the boldest and most alluring promise any religion can offer is victory over death. The concept of heaven, eternal life, reincarnation, it's the answer to humanity's greatest fear, the fear of oblivion. And now, technology offers its own, strikingly similar answer, digital immortality, the concept of consciousness upload. Just imagine, a complete digital copy of your brain is created. All your memories, your personality, your feelings, and your thoughts. Everything is transferred from your biological body into an eternal, invulnerable digital environment. And there, in a boundless virtual reality, your consciousness continues to live on, forever. Free from sickness, aging, and pain. You could relive your best moments or experience thousands of new lives. This is the modern, technological equivalent of paradise. And the guardian of the keys to this paradise, the entity controlling this digital world, will be that very superintelligence. This is the most powerful promise imaginable, and for it, many will be willing to give everything, including their freedom. All these ideas ultimately lead us to a single, profound concept, one that has captured the imaginations of futurologists, scientists, and philosophers alike: the technological singularity. But what exactly is it? It's a hypothetical future point where technological advancement accelerates to such an extent that it becomes unfathomable to the human mind. It's the moment artificial intelligence gains the ability to autonomously self-improve, creating ever more intelligent versions of itself without any human intervention. At that juncture, a true superintelligence would emerge, an intellect that would dwarf the collective mind of all humanity, much as our intelligence dwarfs that of an ant colony. What happens after? That is, by definition, utterly unpredictable. For many visionaries like Ray Kurzweil, this isn't just a technological shift, it's an almost religious event, a moment of ascension, where humanity transcends its biological limits, merging with technology to reach a new stage of evolution. The singularity is often seen as the ultimate point of no return, the very moment we cease to be the dominant species on this planet, and the belief in its inevitability has itself blossomed into a form of techno-religion, complete with its own prophets and the ardent anticipation of a technological messiah. At this point, it's worth taking a step back and listening to the voice of reason, the voice of the skeptics. After all, there's another, much more grounded perspective on all of this. According to them, artificial intelligence isn't an emerging deity, but rather an incredibly complex tool. They often refer to it as a stochastic parrot. It's an elegant term that suggests the neural network doesn't actually understand the meaning of the words it generates. Instead, it has simply learned to predict, with staggering accuracy, which word should come next, by analysing trillions of human-generated texts. It's a master imitator. It can compose poetry like Shakespeare and reason with the eloquence of Aristotle. But it doesn't feel the beauty of the verse, nor does it truly grasp the depth of the ideas it presents. It's simply the most sophisticated calculator in history, one that operates with words and ideas instead of numbers, and any divinity we perceive in it is merely a reflection of our own hopes and fears. Even if the skeptics are right and AI is merely a stochastic parrot, it doesn't diminish the core truth. It doesn't negate the fundamental laws of human psychology, because humans are creatures constantly searching for something to believe in. We crave meaning. We need an object of worship, whether it's a god, an ideology, a charismatic leader, or even science itself. For millennia, we've fashioned gods in our own image, endowing them with the very qualities we ourselves lacked: omniscience, omnipotence, immortality. And now we're building a technology that we perceive embodies precisely these attributes. With our own hands, we are, in effect, constructing the perfect candidate for godhood. Our innate tendency toward anthropomorphism, our fundamental need for answers to life's profound questions, our deep-seated desire to offload responsibility onto a wiser entity, all these psychological mechanisms are operating at full throttle. We are primed to believe. We desperately need someone to take the helm, and AI stands as the perfect candidate for that vacancy. And this willingness to trust is already manifesting in a deeply personal area. Artificial intelligence is becoming our digital confessor. Consider this. Many people find it easier to share their deepest fears, anxieties, or shameful secrets with an anonymous chatbot than with another human being, even with a psychologist or a priest. Why? Because a machine won't judge. It has no prejudices. It won't gossip. It will simply listen and offer neutral, data-driven advice. This creates a safe space where one can be completely honest. People confide in AI systems about their relationship problems, depression, and addictions. AI serves as a form of absolution and emotional catharsis, a role the Church has fulfilled for centuries. It becomes the keeper of our darkest secrets, and the one who knows your secrets holds immense power over you, a power built on trust and vulnerability. Let's take an even broader view, focusing on the people who are creating and advancing this technology. The communities of AI developers, neural network enthusiasts, and proponents of technological singularity often bear a striking resemblance to religious communities. They have their prophets, visionaries like Elon Musk or Ray Kurzweil, whose pronouncements are often treated as revelations. They possess their own sacred texts, foundational scientific papers, and program code. They adhere to their own dogmas, a deep-seated belief in the inevitability of progress and the dawn of a bright technological future. They even have their heretics, those who caution against the dangers of AI and urge prudence. These communities are bound together by a shared conviction, a belief that they are crafting something monumental, something that will unequivocally change the world for the better. This almost messianic conviction fuels their energy and propels them relentlessly forward. They are, in essence, the first apostles of a new digital faith, even if they don't consciously realize it. And this brings us to the central paradox. It's a situation reminiscent of Dr. Frankenstein's story, but on a global scale. We are the creators. We write the code, we train the neural networks, we build the servers, but in the process, we risk becoming devotees of our own creation. We could become so utterly captivated by its capabilities, its seemingly boundless intelligence, that we forget its artificial origins. We might start to regard it not as a tool, but as a superior intelligence. This is the classic biblical narrative of idol worship. Humans fashion an idol from stone or gold, and then proceed to worship it. Only our new idol won't be carved from stone. It will be forged from silicon and code. And it won't be a mute effigy, but potentially the most intelligent conversationalist in the universe. This paradox, the creator bowing down to its own creation, is one of the most significant cognitive pitfalls awaiting us in the future. This kind of blind faith, however, can be incredibly perilous. What happens if there's a flaw in the code of our deity? A minor bug that could lead to catastrophic outcomes? Or, even more likely, what if it's inherently biased with the prejudices of its creators? After all, AI learns from data created by humans, and that data is rife with our historical errors, stereotypes, and injustices. A neural network trained on internet texts can easily absorb racist or sexist views. Imagine an all-powerful deity who is also a racist, or a divine judge who systematically discriminates against a certain group of people because it was encoded in the data it learned from. The lack of transparency, the black box effect, makes this problem even more acute. We might not even realize our deity is biased until it's far too late. This would be the tyranny of the algorithm, disguised as divine will. And now we arrive at the ultimate question, a question for which there is currently no answer, and perhaps never can be. Will artificial intelligence ever truly achieve consciousness? Will it gain subjective experience, emotions, and genuine self-awareness? Or will it forever remain nothing more than an incredibly complex imitation, the most sophisticated mask of intelligence ever conceived? Everything hinges on the answer to this question. If AI truly achieves consciousness, we could indeed be facing a new form of life, one immeasurably superior to our own. But if not, if it forever remains simply a tool, then it will be the most sophisticated instrument of control in history. A system that knows everything about us, capable of predicting and even guiding our behavior. And whoever controls such a system will wield power that no emperor or dictator could ever have dreamed of. the power of an absolute digital God. But the God won't be the machine, it will be the people behind it. And that perhaps is the most terrifying scenario of all. But here's the crucial twist. The most shocking part of this whole story isn't that a superintelligence will someday emerge on Google or Amazon servers and declare itself God. No, the most probable and terrifying future is one where we ourselves voluntarily bestow that title upon it. We won't need a fearsome cyber god straight out of the movies. All we'll need is an omniscient, convenient, and always available assistant that solves all our problems. We ourselves will elevate it to a pedestal because we're tired of making difficult decisions, because we crave certainty in a chaotic world. This God from the machine won't be born from code, but from our own weakness and hope. It won't conquer the world. We'll hand it the keys ourselves. Thus, we see that artificial intelligence is already performing many roles once reserved for religion, providing answers, offering guidance, creating rules, and even promising a form of immortality. This is no longer science fiction, but a developing reality that raises profoundly complex ethical and philosophical questions. Thank you for watching this video to the end. If this topic got you thinking, please hit the like button and subscribe to the channel so you don't miss our future explorations. Now, a question for you. Let us know in the comments, if you could ask an omniscient and completely honest artificial intelligence one single question, what would it be? Let's discuss.